days, instead have a whole half an hour on whatever the power each one was focusing. About 50 minutes of going over the questions from people. And I was like, that's pretty easy. Like, just what you just said, that way
There's a couple years ahead of us, though. We'll get to that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Come on now, we're good people. I think we should go over there and help people who are here. I think most people, and people should know, but I made it a point.
This
I put my reminders.
Says we got 2 viewers. Hello, folks. It's me. Although,
Well, what I was worried about is this is called the Tiger Point Community.
Hey, so
I was worried people were going to.
so if people are viewing this, we gotta
Yeah,
wait. Oh. No, I was just worried. Trying to see if there's possibly a way I can record this.
I was lost.
All right, everybody, we're going to give it like another 2-3 minutes, and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
Hey, there you are. I'm desperately trying to find. I can't find. I thought there was someone on here that shows where I can record. I'm like, Kathy's out there. But you're not out there. Yeah, there is. It's 16 versus 9.
Good.
One of them's Chase though.
So it's working.
One's Chase because he's chatting to me. Or chat. Did you turn this off? No, actually, Rob had to unplug it when they brought it through. So.
Let's keep it coming, and then we'll.
Actually, I'm streaming it on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, go to
I guess she's in the bathroom.
if you go to YouTube, and go to Bayside. See it streaming live right now. Nine.
All right, we got enough chairs for everybody? All right, Bayside, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Hopefully, it wasn't too much of a hassle to get everybody here for an hour. Hopefully, we're going to try to fly through this pretty quickly and not take too long. This is going to be our agenda for tonight, so you kind of have an idea of some basic things we're going to hit. Leadership, club philosophy. It's important for you guys to know how we're coaching your kids. Finances, what we're doing with your money. Wins and focus, we'll get to that in a second. Carrot expectations, what we expect of you at practice and at games. Club events, I'll get into some details about that later. That's going to be our foot golf and our 5K kind of events. BUSA affiliation and ECNL, all we'll talk about. We added this spring. I know everybody's, some people know, some people don't. Hopefully we can clarify all that tonight. Ryan is going to go over for you guys, and then we'll leave some time at the end for some questions and answers. All right, club leadership. Rob Abbott, carrying the chairs right now. That's Rob. He's our club president. If you need anything, go to him. We'll get to a breakdown of who you need to see for what, but overall, he's your go-to guy. Elizabeth Langston, is Liz here? No, she's not here yet. All right, she's our treasurer. If you have any questions about card not working for for your God Soccer payments or anything like that, Liz is your person to talk to financial-wise. Jennifer Piver, she's going to be a board member. We'll talk about the board here in a little bit as well. Ryan Williams. This is our girls DOC. We added him this year. So he's overseeing the girls program and the girls coaches. So parents of girls, if you have any questions, going to be the same thing for the boys with Paul. He's our boys DOC. So if you need anything on the boys side, go see him. And then me here at the bottom. I'm registrar and operations director, so I know a bunch of you have probably gotten emails from me in the last few weeks about documents and pictures and all that for God Soccer. It can be a pain trying to get 120-some kids, 150 kids registered into a system and approved by the state. So thank you for being patient with me. Operations, the foot golf, the 5Ks, our Relay for Life events. I'm kind of all over the place. So if you have any questions, those are the people that you need to see. Try to start at the bottom with me, Paul, and Ryan, and then we'll work our way up. All right, please don't go directly to Rob for everything. Start at the bottom, and then we'll work our way up the system. Went backwards.
Can I go backwards? Sorry.
Assignments. Hopefully at this point everybody knows who their coach is. So I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but just a quick snapshot of who's coaching what teams and all that for the year. And we work off.
All right. Again, my name is Ryan Williams. I am the girls DOC. I'm also the Gulf Breeze High School girls coach, which is kind of why I'm going to be the one talking about college recruitment. And I did that for my first year last year at the high school. I've been at Bayside coaching since 2004. So I've been here for a very long time. And by far, this is the best and most organized we've been in a long time. It gets better every year, and we're in a good spot right now. Philosophy, you guys can read through these bullet points. I'm not going to read them out loud to you. I do want to talk a little bit about this third one here. The first two, just quickly, this is an experience for both the parents and the child, and teaching players lifelong lessons through soccer. Kind of self-explanatory. The competitive while keeping it fun. This is the one that I kind of want to just talk a little bit more on. This is club soccer. Compete. We want to show well in competitions. However, it has to be fun. It has to be fun for the kids. And there's that fine line, and we want to make sure that as a club that we are doing the right things. And so there is a balance. It is a tryout format. It is a club team. And we will be competitive, but I don't care if you've got a 10-year-old at the club or a 17-year-old. If they're not enjoying it, if they're not having fun, they're going to lose interest. They're not going to want to keep coming back out. So that's what we as coaches and as a club, that's what we have to really focus on and make sure that while we are challenging the kids, we're pushing them, that there is the element of fun in there as well. Because you'll see, at least in an area as small as ours, U10, U11, U12 get big numbers. By the time you get up to U15, U16, U17, we struggle very badly to make teams because there's so many other things going on, and they didn't particularly enjoy it that much when they were younger, and they just, it's easy to move on at that point. We want to keep players around. We want to be here, and we want to make it fun for the ones that, for parents and the players. The next point, I kind of talked about it already, challenging training. Again, it has to be challenging. We got to be pushing them. We want to be competitive, but we want to be fun at the same time, so that we're not running these kids into the ground and doing what's right for them, what's best for them. Repetition, especially at the younger age levels. That's why we do the skills training. We are very fortunate, in my opinion, to have Coach Fraga back. If you didn't know, Coach Fraga is back with the club. He moved away last year, the year before, and he's back now, and that's huge. Coach Carlos was awesome, and he was great. He got a different job in Destin, so he's moved on with them. But we got Coach Fraga back, and that's wonderful. He's one of the best skills coaches. Futsal, which is an indoor form of soccer, and obviously the outdoor stuff. As long as I've coached, I'm telling you, there's there are very few people better than him. So it's a very, very good thing we got him back this year. He's one of those guys for that repetitive stuff and that quick foot skill, especially at the younger ages, because it's important. It's the stepping stone. That's how they develop younger. We can get into tactical and that type of stuff as they get older. Last but not least, the game. Important. Anybody that's played for me, I've got a couple players in here I think I saw earlier. They've all heard me say this before. First of all, I love football. I'm an ESPN junkie. I love sports. Okay, I don't have anything against other sports. I love all of them. I watch them all. Soccer to me is the best, especially as a player, because soccer is a player's game. As coaches, it's our job to get what we have to get in out there on the practice field, because when a game comes around, it's strictly up to the players. Influence compared to other sports. We don't get to stop and call plays every play. We don't get timeouts. We don't get to make subs on the fly. The game kind of goes away from the coach and to the player when the whistle blows, and that's the best part about it. I think that's the biggest draw. It was for me when I played, and so obviously the game is the best teacher. And as far as a soccer player goes, again, nothing against the other sports, but to me, soccer there's no other sport for kids. This type of learning development and have them making those quick decisions. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the club philosophy. If anybody has anything outside of that, you want to talk to any of us about any of these slides, we can answer individual questions at the end. Or on, if you go to the next slide, please. All right, parent expectations. This one, I'm gonna shoot through a couple of these quickly. The first two, again, are pretty self-explanatory. Please pick up and drop off on time. I know that me as a coach, again, I tell my players, who most of them are a little older and drive, I will end on time, so please be there on time. Just make sure you're paying your dues, obviously. This one, I'm not gonna harp on it too much. We've all heard it before. Please do not coach from the sidelines. You're undermining us as coaches. We may have your daughter or your son in a certain place at a certain time. You may not always agree with it, but please don't tell them where to go. We want you to be encouraging. We want you to cheer and to clap and be positive. We don't want you directing and telling them back up or push forward or anything negative. Just keep it positive, keep it light. You guys have the best job. You get to just show up and watch, and you don't have to do anything. So just remember that it is about the kids, and they need to. I'm gonna skip down to this bottom one here. I think we've all heard this before too. But most times, if you ask a child away from their parents, what do you want to hear your parents say? A lot of them just say nothing. They don't want to hear from you at all. It gets confusing for them. Number one, you've got a coach yelling at you to do this, and you've got mom or dad telling you to do that. It confuses them. It may mess up what we're doing on the field. You know, we may be pushing in a certain direction. There may be a really skilled player on the other team on that side, so we're playing a little deeper by speed. So normally your child plays forward over there, but this game we're telling them to hang back. So things like that. Those are some examples of where when you guys are on the other side telling them what to do, especially the side closest to them, where they can hear you very well, it can really hurt. So don't do that, please. This one that I skipped over is important too. We're going to get bad referees. Part of it. Referees are human. They're just like you and I, and they're going to make bad calls. They're going to miss calls on purpose, but it doesn't do anything but hurt us as a club and our reputation to yell at them and to get on them. That needs to be addressed. The coach will do it. It's up to us to kind of holler at them and get their attention. But they are human, and you guys or parents at all hollering at them on the sideline is just going to work against us. It's not going to help us at all. And for this area, I know that there was a club-wide email that went out. They are really, really struggling with referees in this area. So there's so much turnover for referees. Kids come in, teenagers come in, they go 1 year and then they're out. They don't want to do it anymore because they're constantly harassed. $150 a weekend, it's not worth it. So we really have to do a better job, coaches as well, but also parents, to give the referees a break every now and then. Let the coaches get on it when there's a bad call or when something needs to be addressed. All right, but don't let it come from the parent sideline because it doesn't come across the right way. Referees are human; they're going to get defensive. It's not going to make them make more calls for us by you guys yelling at them. So just keep that in mind, please. Keep things positive moving forward. I think that's it. What's the next slide? Bayside board. Rob, you were up.
All right, so I'm going to make a couple comments first. One, thank you all for being here tonight. This was extremely important. One of the top criticisms that I've heard is the lack of communication. One of our ways to be able to communicate to everybody what we've been doing, what we are planning on doing, and just what's going on with the season so you can get the best out of the club that you're paying for. You know, Ryan said all you guys have to do is show up to games. Remember, he's got 2 toddlers, so he doesn't realize the challenge in getting out the door on time with 2 cleats, 2 socks, jersey. It's a challenge.
I'm going to learn that soon enough. I know.
I can't also stress the issue with the refs. For a tournament like our size, the Gulf Coast Invitational, now recruiting referees from 8 hours away, and we're paying for travel pay, we're paying for hotels, for multiple refs, just to be able to have enough refs to be able to support our event. So a lot of the clubs are starting to pull together to try to fix it, but honestly, it really starts with all the parents of all the clubs. So this is my biggest failure in this club so far. I did not hold a single board meeting last year. I got really tied into the day-to-day events of running Bayside. And once I really kind of recognized it, that's when we started shifting gears. And we started, we first hired Eric to handle operations, which helps out with all of our events, everything we do. And then obviously the register spot, which we couldn't fill with a volunteer. We hired the 2 DOCs, so we had leadership on the fields. And so by doing that, that's really kind of lessened the load on me, which has enabled me to start now being able to look at other things and do. So one of my big challenges for this year is re-engaging the board of directors for our club. Obviously, it's Elizabeth and I have really been working one-on-one. She makes sure that she watches our finances and all that stuff. We need some additional help. We don't have a vice president because he left the club. We don't have, usually we have 2 or 3 different open board members. Please, if you care about the club and you've got a little bit of extra time, and I'm not asking for a lot, you know, come talk to me, tell me you're interested. We will hold a board meeting in the next 2 or 3 weeks once I pick a date, and then hopefully I'll get some people that will volunteer. We can talk about the expectations of time, everything like that. I'm not asking the world of you to sacrifice. And Liz wants off being treasurer, I should add that. She says that to me, I believe every phone call I have with her, which is about 5 times a week. She's been in this position for over 6 years. I think her daughter's nearing the end. So please contact me. I can't express enough how much I need your help. Next slide, please. So I'm going to run through a lot of, just a lot of general stuff about the club and what we're doing. We're in a very good financial shape right now. Budget, in case you didn't know, is almost $200,000. We shoot for a break-even budget. We're a little bit over to carry us in case the tournament doesn't need, or if there's other expenses or stuff like that. So that's kind of where we target our budget. Our coaches account for over 50% of our expense. So that's where the bulk of our money goes. It's 25%. So the $200,000 is a little misleading because we bring in about $50,000 in revenue from our tournament. I'm trying to do the math in my head right now real quick. We bring in like $70,000, we bring in $75,000 in Gulf Coast Invitational last year. We paid out $45,000 in expenses for ref fees. So that's what the bulk of that is. But that's kind of where the expenses of our club goes to. Fees for FYSA US Club. It goes to the equipment that we've been buying the coaches, some of the shirts. It goes to our website fee. It goes to a lot, just a little stuff like that. There's nothing really major once you get past our coaches. We've also been investing in training for our coaches, trying to give to our coaches so that they'll continue to grow as coaches. That's later in the slide, but 3 of them attended their geek course this year. They have complained about it a great deal because it's a lot of homework. but I'm very proud that all three went through it and got their license. Strategy. So obviously a lot of parents want to know, why are your fees where they are? You know, why are they higher than Navarre or the Breakers? You know, we generally look at what our expenses are, and I kind of look at what the revenue is that I need to bring in to cover that. And then what I do is I do a competitive analysis. So I look at what the Texans are charging. I look at what Perdito's charging. I look at what Rad's charging. You compare to Navarre and Breakers, but I think we offer a whole lot more than those two clubs right now. The Texans, on average, run about $400 more per player than us for the older kids. Younger kids is a little bit on par. Perdito, older kids were a lot cheaper. Younger kids were a little bit more expensive, but pretty darn close. So I give you some of those comparisons just to let you know that I do look at it. I do make sure that we're in line with other clubs around us, position to still continue to move our club forward. Next slide. So the 2016-17 wins that I feel we got. One was the leadership with Ryan and Paul. I think it's been tremendous to have them who are involved on the field day by day and responsible for all those teams. In the past, it really fell on the previous president, Scott, and myself to kind of fill that role of a DOC. And frankly, we just can't be everywhere every single day. Our wives get upset when you're at the soccer field every day. The move to Gulf Coast Invitational to Foley. Not only is it a gorgeous venue, the amusement park's open. I warn all of your parents when you go out there this weekend. But we were able to increase our profit by over 100%. Charges that we got from Santa Rosa that we didn't get here. So it was a very profitable event for us. We made almost $25,000. We continue to make investments in the professionalism and organization of our club. I mean, that goes back to the equipment. We got soccer balls for all the teams, shirts, for all the coaches. Raise the level of professionalism of our coaches. And then obviously we talked about the continued education. The relationship with BUSA and ECNL. That was really started by Scott Steichleather and Derek Elmore, started the conversations, and then Paul got excited about it and kind of finished the deal for us. The ECNL relationship, which Paul's going to talk about later, is really a big deal for our club. Eric handling operations and the registrar. The registrar stuff is complicated, so have a little slack for him. But we're getting it down. We're trying to figure out how to do it better. From an operations standpoint, I couldn't ask anything more of Eric. I mean, the events he's run, anything that we need to do, whether it's putting nets on the field or anything, he takes care of. He also ran the 2 successful events we had last year, football and the 5K events. Very successful as well, except for the broken windshield. Other than that, it's good. Next slide, please.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
You got a youth girl. I'm going to go grab them from practice, take it to the playground, and I'll be there with them watching.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Rob, stand over this. You're up against the windows. I can see
I
you.
walk when I talk. Our 2018 focus. One, like I said, I want to fill and engage the board of directors. I want to get responsibility out and also get more opinions. I mean, I do try to talk to a lot of people, and I value your opinions. I'll change directions of what we're doing. Something I wasn't aware of. I mean, you guys helped me identify some of that stuff. By having a board, we can do an even better job with it. Fields. This is a question we've had for forever. So unfortunately, we were trying to work on the, sorry, I keep walking. Trying to get space on the west side of the golf course. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the lost funds from the county. It all went to police and paramedics, and then the bulk of it went to drainage ditches. So unfortunately, we just didn't make the cut. What I've realized is that that's a perfect site. We just need to apply political pressure. So I think our next step, we've met with homeowners, the homeowner association, we've met with a ton of people, we have plans drawn up. What I do is collectively, with TPSA as a partner, come up with a plan to apply political pressure to get the funds that we need for those fields. We are working on some additional space. We may have something hopefully by mid-season. I'm not going to go into any details on it, but we're hoping to have some space to alleviate some of the pressure that we're going to start seeing here in the next.
Well, to add in on the fields thing, something I've already worked on. It'll be posted to Facebook here in the coming weeks once we get through a few things. It'll be an petition that you guys can share on Facebook. You can share online, email it to your friends, and people just digitally sign it. That way we can start applying some pressure to the county. Keep in mind that'll be coming in weeks to come, but just so you have an idea what it does come out of, what it is.
Thank you, Eric. I'm looking at trying to get a new website for us, something that has a lot better functionality. Plus with the registration process to make it a little bit easier. So that's something we're looking at as well. College recruiting, I think this is one of the biggest misses our club has, is educating parents on the college recruiting process. There's a lot of misleading thoughts, responsibilities, or what clubs should do versus high school, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we're really working on trying to beef that up as part of our club. The scholarship process. We just really don't have a solid process. I mean, we get some documentation and we evaluate it, but we haven't quite figured out how many should we give away versus at what levels and what that process should look like. One of those things that's just hanging out there. And then improvement of communication. As far as getting communication out to the parents, out to the team managers, just trying to improve the knowledge base to make things easier and better. All right, miscellaneous subjects. I get asked this all the time. Why can't the Breakers and Bayside merge? Bottom line is it's two different philosophies of how to run a club. Just the bottom line. We did approach Vic this last spring and offered him essentially DOC Academy, which would have been all of our U12 teams down. And then U13 would have stayed with Paul and Ryan. And he turned us down. So I just want you all to know, got turned down. Him and I, we get along well. We've had some community, you know, we still talk to each other, and we'll continue to try to bridge this gap between our two clubs. Everybody knows in golf breeds that these two clubs are together. So we'll continue to work on that, but that's kind of where we last left it. I think Ryan said it all. It's great, you know, Frog is back. Unfortunately, hours with them, and we've really targeted the younger teams. And we're asking the older teams to get skill training through their coaches. An easy feeling because I always like that dedicated hour of just skill work. So I'm going to still look at that and try to work on that for some of the older teams. Why new uniforms and practice shirts? Frustrations. So I'm going to give you the long, not short story on practice shirts. Bottom line is practice shirts were a pain for me. Because Aloha, where we had them printed, required me to do a minimum order of 30 shirts, which meant when we got a new kid in who was a youth large, it was always the size I didn't have. So I'd have to go out and buy some more shirts, and then have them printed, and then have numbers put on them. And I'd have to make multiple trips to Aloha to pick them up. I let the parents down because it would take a month to get the shirt in. It was just a big mess. So I opted, I want to do it through soccer.com where we get our uniforms. The problem is for me to get the quality shirt, the dry fit shirt, it was going to be $25 for a single shirt. And I just couldn't ask us to do that, but I knew I could get them for 15 or under a piece. So that's where we had them printed. I'm hoping now that I've changed jobs, so now I travel by Aloha every day, so it'll be a little easier for me to drop stuff off and pick stuff up. But that's kind of the course that we decided last minute when soccer.com fell through. This isn't my fault. All these brands that we like so much, Adidas, Puma, they change their uniform styles every 2 years. Well, even though your kid can still fit in his uniform, the problem is the new batch of kids that come into our club and the new additions, because we can't order their uniforms for them. So that's why we're stuck buying uniforms every 2 years. I never understood it when I first became president. Scott's like, yeah, uniforms every 2 years. I didn't quite get it. I'm like, we don't have to do that. But that's why. So, FYSA US Club. So, FYSA is a Florida soccer association that governs the youth soccer. Okay, they insure our kids against injury. So, if your kid gets injured, you can file a claim with FYSA. Extra medical insurance. It covers us for liability, and they offer some terms. They do a bunch of little stuff, but that's FYSA. Our other option is US Club. to do both. FYSA, truly the only advantage over U.S. clubs, it allows our older teams to participate in State Cup and President's Cup. FYSA membership, Vic can pick it up for the Breakers, and I won't be able to get it back because you can't be within like 17 miles of another club. To maintain both, even though it's costing our club more money, just to make sure I'm making a sound decision. My gut feeling is I'm throwing away about $3,500. But I get this big. So we're going to hold on to it for a couple of years, go both directions, and then we'll make a decision of getting rid of FYSA. The club just offers us greater opportunities. It's what we need to participate in the league with Perdido. It's needed for our relationship with BUSA. And overall, it's just an easier process to work with. It's FYSA's site. And all that mess that you've had to deal with as far as uploading documents, finding your account, trying to remember a password, all that nonsense is FYSA's fault. The club, I'm sure, has their own mess. We're still figuring it out. But you will be asked, and I warn you, you will be asked once again to probably provide us. We haven't figured out how we're going to do this, but we may have to ask you for those medical waivers or to upload them for the U.S. club site because we're going both directions. The reason your team managers need a hard copy because they need it for check-in. But Eric needs it to give to FYSA and U.S. club. To always get it from the team managers, and then the registrar would sit there and have to upload them all. We opted to go a different direction and make you guys do the work instead of Eric. So that's why you've been asked to upload it. I am very hopeful that if we get a new website, that it will have the functionality. See, now upload your docs, and then we can pull them out and separate them U.S. Club and FYSA. That is my goal for next year. It's not going to happen this year. So just be prepared for a lot of frustration. But we'll get through it. It's what's best for the direction of our club for right now, and then we'll improve the process, I promise you. PSA. I just want to make sure everybody understands that this park is managed by the Tiger Point Sports Association. They have their own board, and they're responsible for all of the rec programs here at the park. The park is a TPSA park. We lease land from TPSA on an annual basis. So we are not the priority. Rec is the priority, which is why we are always being flexible with the rec teams, taken care of. And then, frankly, they're really working with us, even though they really don't have to. So there is, and we obviously, all of us know that field space is extremely tight here at TPSA. Well, that automatically translates to typical tension between TPSA and Bayside. Our relationship with TPSA, in my mind, has never been better. The entire board trying to work with us, come up with solutions for field space. It's never been a better situation than it is now. So I just want to kind of make sure you understood that relationship. There is tension there, but I really think we're all working together to try to take care of all the kids at this park. Non-soccer events. I've been asked, why do we do, because I look at the calendar. When we set our schedule of tournaments, I look at how many open weekends there are. Making sure that there's free time, that not every weekend is taken up for soccer. Because I know how much time we take up for this sport. So the non-soccer events, one of the biggest complaints I heard was that we operated as individual teams and not enough as a club. So we decided to do one event per season. We've done the 5K was very successful, but that was really the point behind that. It's not mandatory. We're not going to kick you out if you don't do it. I only encourage you to come out and support the event. We try to pick a charity event to pair up with the event. Really, we filled my entire pickup with pet food one year. It still smells like that.
Filled up a Sequoia for the 5K this year.
With all the sports equipment for a club up in.
This was a humane society for the 5K. We built the entire Sequoia. All the seats had to be pulled out or pushed down. So thank you guys. So we'll get to that later.
Yeah, it's good things that we're doing. But that's really the reason we're doing it. I'm not trying to take up more time. I know how valuable your time is. Alabama ODP. By going U.S. Club, we will be able to send kids to Alabama ODP. Your DOCs, that's only for U12 and up. We'll be getting further information in the future to make sure that we don't miss those events like we have in the past. Next slide.
All right, back to me. All right, so like I said a little bit ago, I'm gonna try to fly through these pretty quickly, just give you a brief overview of what they are. So like we said earlier, I do operations, so all these different events, these are gonna be me. Last year, I did all of them except for the Relay for Life All-Star game, pretty much by myself. I had some help from Joni, his wife, and Nadine. There was some helpers, but I need a lot more parent involvement this year if we're going to make all these events successful. So with that being said, I'm going to pass up the sign up sheet around. As I get to each event, I'll tell you how many I'm going to need at each one. Interested in helping out, I would really like everybody to do one event. Like Rob said, there's one in the fall, one in the spring. I'm not going to ask too much of you, but I do need help if I'm going to make all these events a success each and every year. I'm going to pass it around as I go through each event. Yeah, get you while you're here. All right, next slide. All right, Club Appreciation Night. This was something that we did for the first time last year. Turnout was decent, but with it being our first time doing it, a lot of people had no idea what was going on. I was a student at UWF last year. I knew somebody in the sports marketing department. Appreciation Night, where they host different youth teams around. So UWF is going to have us out, and it'll be a Bayside Appreciation Night. So we're going to split it into a girls' night, because last year we tried to do it. They had to watch girls were playing, they had to watch boys. So we're going to try to split it.
I'm so sorry. It's Wiley's son. I took it away from them.
So girls. So let me go back up here. Bayside players will get in free. Parents, they'll still charge you. I'm sorry, it's just part of the deal. But players will get in free. You get to watch. UWF is always good in boys and girls soccer. They're always top notch. Most of the time, top of the country national as well. I saw the preseason rankings came out the other day, and both teams are pretty high. I can't remember their exact numbers, but they're going to have good years this year, so it should be a good event for us. At halftime, that was something they did last year. This year, it's going to be a little different, which I'm going to talk to the U9 boys later. That'll be details to come. But that will be, the U9 boys will play before the game with the Texans before the UWF boys game, but we'll figure that out later. And then the players also do an autograph session after the game. I know a lot of our kids like that last year. Like I said, girls will watch the women's team on September 8th at 7:30 p.m. Boys will watch the men's team on September 28th. Another lights came on. And then I need 2 volunteers for each night. That's on the sheet that's going around. So if you want to be the one in charge of the girls' night, please sign up. If you want to be the one in charge of the boys' night, please let me know. You're just going to be my herder. That's all I'm going to need. All right. For that night, that's all we really need. Football. This was something that I saw on YouTube about 3 or 4 years ago. It started over in like Europe, Portugal, or Spain or something. It's literally golf and soccer combined. You put the ball down on the ground and you kick it, you wait for it to stop, then you go up and hit it again and try to get it in a big hole. Soccer and golf combined. The kids love it. Unfortunately, I've planned 4 of these. I have yet to be able to play.
There's another set right behind the right side of the screen, right? On the other side.
So the first 2 years we did it at Cypress Lakes, way out in Cantonment. It was way too far. I work at Tiger Point Golf Course, so we were able to letting us do it there. So as of right now, it's going to be at Tiger Point. I'll let y'all know. November 4th is going to be the date on that. We've already set a date for it. November 4th. This is going to be an afternoon event, so probably about we'll start. So that'll be an afternoon event on November 4th. At Tiger Point Golf Course, like I said, Rob mentioned earlier that we picked the charity for most of these events, U.S. Soccer Pass Back Foundation. which they take old, used soccer equipment, balls, cleats, shin guards, socks, jerseys, anything, and they send them to kids here in the U.S. that could use it more than we can. It'll be teams of 5 with 1 parent in each group. I can't just let kids just golf course, stuff gets broken that way. So there will be teams of 5, and I will need 1 parent in each group just to kind of be the chaperone. There'll be more details on this on all these events as we get closer to them, but I just kind of wanted y'all to be, just kind of have an idea of what was going on. 10 to 15 volunteers I need on this one. That's including these parents. I need people to help with food, drinks, getting door prizes, getting people in. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on with this one that I'm going to need help with. It's not much. It'll mostly be computer kind of stuff, but please, if you're interested in some of these events. So this was a picture of ours last year. These were trophies. These were some of the winners. And then these were the kids in Mobile that we took all of the goods to. We try to keep it as local as possible. US Soccer Passback has a website where you can see who's put in requests. We found one in Mobile. So hopefully we have a good relationship with them going forward, and we can help supply that soccer club over there. It's a great program they do. It's Soccer for Life. Relay for Life All-Star Game. This is something that Paul came up with a few years ago. It's pretty much Tiger Point Rec All-Stars, GBSA Rec All-Stars, and then some of our younger teams. We get them together and play. Benefits Relay for Life. It's also a great recruiting tool for us to get some of the younger kids in. So it's kind of dually purposed there. We set a date for December 9th. I need 5 to 8 volunteers to help me with that one. Same thing, door prizes, checking people in, that kind of stuff. High school soccer all-star game. All girls for the all-star game. This is going to be in the spring, probably February-ish. When y'all normally do it, right, Ryan? I think it's normally February. More details later. But it'll be the high school area all-star boys and girls, all boys, so the all-stars aren't chasing the ball all over the field. It's a good experience for the kids. They like being on the field. They get to meet the players. They get to see it from on the field. It's a good experience. March 1st. March 1st it is. More details later too, I promise. And they get to play on the field at halftime. 1 parent to organize the boys game and 1 to organize the girls game, please. Tiger Trot 5K. We did this for the first time this year. I'm actually wearing the shirt today. This was the first one we did this year. I did 5Ks all the time when I played soccer. A good event for us to host. Like Rob said, it's good to get everybody together, not on the soccer field. It's a good fundraising event, and we get to help some charities at the same time. It's going to be at Tiger Point Golf Course again. Last year we did the Humane Society as our charity. We'll probably keep them again this year, but that's kind of far off, so I'll get there as we get closer. 15 to 20 volunteers to help with this one. Same thing, door prizes, checking people in. This one I'll actually need some help setting up because the 5K starts at 7 in the morning normally. So we have to be there early, with breakfast, and I need people scattered around the course to kind of tell the runners where we're going. So if you're interested in this one, please sign up as the sign up makes its way to you. It was a great event last year. It was tons of fun. I think everybody had a blast. So looking forward to it again this year. Invitational. Rob kind of already touched on that. This is our tournament that we're doing. We do every year. We moved it over to Foley, as everybody knows. Who are ready? The OWA facility is open, so be prepared. There, we have, this tournament's been around 34, 35 years. So it's one of the oldest tournaments here in the Southeast, if not the country. So we get a huge showing each and every year. Field marshals, volunteers, food volunteers, all that kind of stuff to help on that event as well. I think I already see some field marshals. So if you're interested in helping us out at all on that event, please sign up as it goes on. And we're going to.
So can you skip ahead to the college recruiting process? We're going to let Ryan go.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead and talk just a little bit about this for the college recruitment. As I said, I was the Gulf Breeze Girls, or I am the Gulf Breeze Girls high school coach. Last year was my first year, so I really kind of jumped into the college recruitment aspect of soccer more so than I ever had before. Experience. I'm still learning things about it, but I picked up a lot of things during the high school season last year. Kind of what college coaches are looking for. I had a couple girls that were interested in playing college soccer that were seniors. One did get a scholarship, the other I don't believe did, but talking to the coaches and going through the process was very beneficial, and it will continue. As Rob said, this is definitely one of the areas where, as a club, we have not done a very good job in the past. We lose a lot of teams as they get older. They go to different clubs thinking they're going to have better opportunities at college recruitment. What I can tell you, number one, with the BUSA affiliation, Andrew Brower, SFA licensed coach, very well connected. I mean, this guy will be a huge, huge benefit for us as a club, having the relationship with him to help with college recruitment and talking to college coaches as me and other coaches in this club kind of help bring this up. ID camp, and this is big. College ID camps are very important if you are interested. And I know this only applies to a handful of you guys with older kids. For those of you with younger, it will come sooner than you think. And if they are interested in playing in college, very, very doable. People feel like to get a college scholarship is just, oh, I got to be the best player. But you don't. If you're attending these college ID camps, talking with us, and we are talking with Andrew, and you have the schools, you want almost all the schools, all the big schools anyways, will have their own camps and ID where you can sign up and you can go. It's getting out there. It's a lot of work, okay? And it's nothing that I am going to do for you, or that Andrew is going to do for you, or that Rob's going to do for you, or any club. It's something that you have to do and your child has to do. Emails. You've got to talk to coaches. One of the things I learned very quickly last year, one of the girls, quick example, I asked her, what are your top, where do you want to play? And she gave me 5 lists. So I started reaching out to those coaches. The couple that came back to me with, hey, this is great, appreciate you reaching out, but has your player contacted us? Has she come to any of our camps? No, she hasn't. Has she got any ID camps in the Southeast? Where would we see her? It was kind of like, we appreciate you reaching out. It's very nice. You had great things to say about her. That's nice. But we want to hear from her. We want to, what's she doing? Where can we watch her play? That right away struck me with 2 or 3 different coaches that all had the same thing. They all said, have they talked to us? Have they come to us? Have they sent emails? Have they been in contact with our program at all? Do they have any type of highlight videos? I don't know if you're familiar with Huddle. We film the games at the high school. You can upload, not to get too in depth here, but highlight videos, emails. They want contact from the players. And so again, as a club, as a coach, as a DOC, we are definitely here to help. We can, if coaches ever want to talk, hey, we want to hear from your club coach, or we want to hear from your high school coach, we will always be available for anybody that needs something like that. But as far as getting your foot in the door and getting out there, that's on the parents and it's on you. Put the effort in. We will help as much as we can. I will do anything that I possibly can to help your child get into college or to get a scholarship. It's a great thing. Division I, Division II, Division III, whatever. It's very, very doable if you're interested. So I know I'm going through this very quickly, and there's a lot of information up here about, this kind of listed out, your freshman, sophomore, kind of a guideline, what you want to do. But along with what I've said, I know I went through it very quickly. If you have specific questions about it, if you've got an older child, even if you don't, if you have a younger one, you're just curious, we have our contact information on the last slide. So if you don't have my email already, you'll get it there. Just shoot me an email. If you want to set up time to talk to me about anything, again, I am still in the process of this whole thing. But I think I can give you some information. I can at least help get you started. You doing what, you know, what is an ID camp? Where are they hosted? And again, BUSA, Birmingham United, Paul's going to go over a little bit more detail about them and our relationship with them, but will be a huge, huge help. And they have, and BUSA hosts one of the biggest ID camps. They just had it for over 80 college coaches there. It's a very, very big deal. And they are wonderful because it's a one-stop shop for you. All the coaches come to you. You go to this ID camp and you've got 80 coaches standing there from all the different divisions, big schools, small schools, junior colleges, everything. Very beneficial. And again, Paul will get more into our relationship with them. But if anybody has any questions, more so on college recruitment, what you can do, how we can help, just shoot me an email. Talk to you on the phone, meet you out here, do whatever. Because I think this is an area that we really, really want to start promoting and saying, look, we can help you. We can put you on the right path. If we can't, we can put you in contact with people that definitely can. So that's something that we're definitely working harder for than we ever have in the past. So if anybody has any questions on that, let me know. Next one. Okay, yeah. You can back up a few for Paul.
Once we have the date, Andrew from BUSA is going to come down and actually give a presentation on the college recruiting process. We'll get that out to everyone. I'm very excited about that. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan has to leave us for his child's birthday.
It's my son's birthday today, so we got a dinner. So I hate to be rude and leave out early, but
stress what Ryan was saying. I played here at Bayside too. I got some scholarship offers. Never talked to one college coach for me. Every day I got home from school, emailing Birmingham Southern, emailing USF, UAB. I was out there emailing all these coaches myself. And I did get scholarship offers. So it will pay off, but like Ryan said, you have to put your foot in the door. You have to do the work. Come to us, like you said, and we'll help. We'll talk to some of the coaches for you. But we can't sit there and email 30 different coaches for 15 different players every day.
we could, but they would still look at us and go, "That's wonderful. It's great.
Yeah.
We want to hear from them."
But
That's what I got.
But if you're interested, come talk to us and we'll help you as much as we can.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, thanks.
I'll be really, really quick because we've got a deadline. My name is Paul Martin. I'm the Director of Coaching on the boys side. Took over the job kind of end of last spring. Things I did was, did a quick evaluation. We went through the whole club, where we were good, where we needed to improve. One thing was for certain that as much as we always punch above our weight here as a small club in a small town, that's opportunities for our very, very best players. So that kind of route was kind of I hadn't heard much about it. So I spoke to Scott. Thank you, evening, Scott. First thing I did was pick up the phone to Scott. I was like, hey, fill me in on it. What is the issue? Why are we not doing very well? Where's the disconnect? Found out all about it, that, FYSA, Florida Youth Soccer, is pretty much a very, very hard shop to get in because it's run out of Orlando, Tampa area. Well, the FYSA coaches, they work for the real big clubs, Orlando Cities, the Tampa Bays, and they have their favorite players in that area that all play each other every single week. Possible, as good as our kids are, to even get a fair shot. We could be as good as their players or even better, but we just do not get a fair shot. So we were brainstorming, like, okay, what can we do about it? How can we get in Alabama ODP? Like, how can we do that? Going to US Club was one of the alternatives that we kind of looked at. And hey, how are some people getting into sliding in the back doors to Alabama ODP? For us, it became pretty clear that you had the Southeast, which kind of had a pocket around Atlanta, a pocket around Orlando, Tampa, and South, and then there was nothing all the way over to Texas. There was a big gap in the middle, and we kind of fall into that gap in the middle. So how can we get around it? So we were talking, and I called Scott. I was picking his brains. And he said, we've been having conversations with BUSA, in Soccer Association. We've been having a lot of conversations with those guys about how we can have an affiliation. So started researching it. Basically, here's the deal. They were looking to become more of a regional club at the very top level, which is called the Elite Club, ECNL, Elite Club National League. What that is that's the Atlanta Southeast League, outside of the Atlanta area, and the Orlando area, Birmingham United are the only club between Atlanta and Dallas that are included in that. They're the only club. So that got me excited. I'm like, okay, so tell me more. All right, so here's the deal. So we're talking on there about how we can try and get access to some of our players, you know, 1 or 2 players in every age group maybe, to try and play on those leagues, because they're a full-only league. Everyone finishes ready for high school. They go back, play high school, Bayside in the spring. I'm like, I love the sound of that. So start to make some conversations. Funny enough, the guy was in Destin that weekend. So me and Rob immediately jumped on it, met him, and he filled us all in. And he basically said, yeah, we've got 6 affiliations. We're quite happy to have 7. Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Mississippi Gorilla out of Jackson, Adido were there, HFC were there, Huntsville, and we got ourselves in. So we're like, hey, how do we go about it? Well, here's what we can do for you. What can you do for us? Well, we can give you access. We can give you access to, you know, to the tryouts. And maybe, you know, your boys and kids, your girls, they have a chance of getting to the front of the line. So we're like, okay, we like the sound of that. What else can you do for us? Okay, well, we have the college coaching. You know, we just had a camp. We had 80 or 90 coaches there. 55 placements in 1 year from BUSA into college. I was like, what? Like, I don't even think we put 55 in a 34-year history here. I was like, that is incredible. We can do camps for you. We can come down. We can do a lot of stuff for you. Excited about the relationship. Follow that on. What we did is they had tryouts. We didn't know how they were going to go. Very, very select. Just send us 1 or 2 players per team. We kind of overshot it a little bit. Picked up on the 03 team. We've got a person picked up on the 04 team, boys. An 04 girl picked up. And on the 05s and the 06s and onwards, they're asking us to send guest players, 1 or 2 each time, to just so they can have a look, put them in competitive action. For example, there was the biggest tournament that's around. It was just in Atlanta last weekend, the Nike Select Cup. Concord Fire, the biggest team out of Atlanta, it's their tournament. The U17 bracket, because I pay attention to all the brackets, I watch all the teams, I know what's going on. The U17 bracket had Adido in it and it had the Texans in it. They had 6 brackets. 5, the Texans were playing in bracket 4. BUSA were playing in the top bracket. We had players in every top bracket from the 04s, the 03s. So we had our players playing in that tournament at the top bracket, playing against ECNL teams and pre-ECNL teams. The feedback we're getting is even more exciting than just getting some players on there. Because my fear was we get players on there, there's going to be a big gulf in class and difference. One thing, the initial response I've had is, man, we love your players. We had 3 players on the 05s. There was going to be 2, then they needed to borrow a goalkeeper. So we sent the 05 goalkeeper. The response was, keeper is insane. In fact, they're like, can we have him every single time? Like, that's not going to happen. But like, they absolutely love our players. Every single one of them are playing nearly every single minute of every single game. Because, you know, they're the guest players. You know, they're coming on and they've already got their players set and they know who's in each player. They're playing once and they're leaving them on. So that tells you that for our little part, we're doing okay. That's one of the boxes we can check. Yeah, the development of our players. We don't have a large population. What we've got here, you know, is what we don't do, you know, a tryout, have 60, 70 kids like they do, and they have 3, 4 teams deep. You know, we have a team in every single age group, which is why what we try and do is try and keep the quality of that team as good as we can, okay? So that's just a little bit of feedback we have from it. It's still early days. What we have so far is really, really good. Regional Premier League, which is something that's exciting me too. That's everywhere from Baton Rouge, all their top elite teams are in there, BUSA are in there. Everyone had those big clubs have an RPL team. There's also guest opportunities during State Cup. They said, hey, you know, we really like your players. If we can maybe only pick up 1 for the ECNL team, we may like another 2 or 3 just to help us and guest on those teams during State Cup runs and things like that. That's definitely something on the playing side that we're going to explore coming forward. That's going to be more of a spring thing that we're going to be looking to explore. But just on the playing side, we're really, really excited about that. Just keep it real brief. The Elite Club National League, there's 5 divisions across the country, from Tennessee, South Carolina, Atlanta, and Florida. Only the big clubs in each area are in that league. They're playing, really are playing with the big boys in every single area. The idea is that one or two of those players, you know, they may go on to bigger and better things. You know, they get picked up by MLS clubs. You know, there's Atlanta United, there's Orlando City. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think that, for me, that would be the proudest moment. Having a guy play in there, get spotted by one of them, and all of a sudden they get asked to go on the development academy team, one of the MLS teams. I mean, that would be, you know, the ultimate. That's the attitude is, we want to give exposure to our guys, and we want to give them a window where this isn't the ceiling. Bayside Dynamo, the Gulf Coast, this Pensacola area isn't just the ceiling for these guys. Anybody who wants to can try out every single year, go up to there in May, and see, you know, hey, you might not make it one year, work really hard, try it, and go for it again the next year. So that's just something we're trying for. Alabama FC, you may hear that name from time to time. That's the club that they go under. They have like a semi-professional women's and men's team called Alabama FC. So they've gone under that banner instead of BUSA, more of a regional feel to it. And as we live in LA, right? So why not become part of Alabama FC? Can I have the next slide, please?
Nope.
Yeah, highest level coaches, most of their coaches, well, they've got about 7 full-time A-licensed coaches. They all coach the ECNL teams. Games, showcases, ID2, PDP, and ODP. The course that we did in Birmingham, we've got to finish it off in 2 weeks' time. And there were BUSA coaches, A-licensed coaches actually brought in by Alabama Youth Soccer Association to help run their sessions. So that again gives you the type of access that our players are getting. Peak coaches. So reputation. It was so funny. We went to the just a quick story. So we're at the tryouts. It's after about 10 minutes. They said, "No, this is chaos. There's too many kids. Let's move all the BUSA kids over here and everybody else over there." And there was a few kids in orange. There's a bunch of kids in red. And I looked over to a different field. I looked back. Orange kids were moved over to the BUSA kids. And I was like, oh, I love the sound of that. And they were the only kids that were moved. Not necessarily because every one of them stood out, but it was just the perception that, hey, these kids can play. Let's put them over here and see who stands out. Again, that just shows me that we've got a good chance of getting very, very good access for our kids. So the complete opposite happens with Florida ODP. Players that didn't get access, even though we felt they should, the opposite of that. We actually had very, very good access. Great relationships with this club that can provide us all these things. Now we just got to prove that we're good enough to go and get on the team, which is a complete 180 to what Florida ODP was given us. So I think we've made some really, really good steps forward on that. ID2, that's just the US club version of ODP. Everything's free. They pay for everything, apart from your travel to get to their camp. They put you up for a whole week. Other states and other regions, and they literally, it's like a residential camp, and they put you up and the whole thing's done for free. So that's going to be the next one. I'm going to try and get players on that. Okay. Is there any more, or is that me done? Thank you very much for your time. Rob. I'm so sorry. Actually, while I'm here, before we can wrap up, I just got something. I've been trying to get around to doing this for about 6 months. You know what, our tournament, we had a quick whip round, and everyone was like, "What's a whip round?" The little collection we did. Everyone gave us a little something, and Rob did not have a team party, so I wasn't able to get him. Wasn't able to get on Liz's date for her team party. So I have a couple of bits here because what everyone knows is you guys volunteer, okay, for this position. You guys put in 1,000 hours. Liz, you've been here for 6 years. Rob, you've done it for 2-3 years already. So I wanted to something. Well, we as a club wanted to show a little bit of appreciation. Okay, so there's just a little bit of something for you in there, Rob, and then we'll get something for you. Perfect timing.
My daughter's going to college tomorrow. I'm trying to pack her up.
We gave you a lot of information, so who's got questions?
I will email this PowerPoint out and club contact information as well, in case that was somebody's question. Just get it out of the way.
Going once? Did we really cover absolutely everything? Nobody has any concerns, no questions, no nothing?
Soon as it's over, they will.
Okay, well just know that you guys really do help me understand concerns that are going on with the club. So stop me when you see me on the field. You know, come get me. Shoot me an email. Shoot me a text. Whatever you can do. Let me, you know, tell me the information. And please, out on the board. We've got to get that back up and going. We've got to fill a lot of positions. We need your help. That being said, is Dawn here by any chance? Yes, I need to see you afterwards. You're in trouble. No. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
I know for the